Amazon app stores.
From the Dignity Health Studios of the Bakersfield Californian, it's time to open up with real people and real talk about real stuff. And now, a special welcome to our friends throughout California, across the nation, and around the world to this week's edition of Open Up.
Good morning and welcome to Open Up.
You bet.
I'm Tina Miller.
And I'm Don Clark, your favorite pair
on the air. We're so happy to have you with us today. We have our wonderful studio audience, and we have viewers from all around the world, Don.
We do. At last count, 18 countries, and we're so glad to welcome you. And
Yes.
Thank you for tuning in. This show is all about encouragement, and boy, everyone around the world needs encouragement, right?
Yes,
Don't
certainly
you like
do.
that introduction with that British accent?
Oh, of course, Don, of course.
That's Vanessa Claridge, our good friend,
Yes.
doing that for us.
Don, look at the beautiful flowers from Denise Haddock.
I know it.
Interior designs. Denise Haddock is the best. She knows how to put the right decoration with what's going on.
You bet.
And what's going on today, Don?
Well, I'll tell you what, we all go through hard times, and it comes to all of us, what the Lord say, in this world you will have trouble.
Yes.
And we have with us a man who really faced a lot of trouble and has come through it, and that's what we want this program to be. What was the problem you faced? How did you make it through? What brought you out to the other side? And I think you're going to really want to hear this, because I think it'll be an encouragement to you. It certainly is an encouragement to us.
Yes.
So first of all, let's just start. We're going to start out with a little clip. Here we go.
Caring for families is what Green Lawn Funeral Homes, Cemeteries, and Cremations has been about since 1934. We feature beautiful grounds with space available for generations to come at both locations. Visit our spacious facilities and meet with our compassionate staff who will share innovative options for one of life's toughest times. 2 convenient locations and 77 years of family ownership. Green Lawn Funeral Homes, Cemeteries, and Cremations.
If you live here in Bakersfield and Kern County, you've seen that ad many times. You've seen that handsome man who's showing the family the various options, and you think, a perfect life. But even that man has gone through some real deep water, and he's here with us now. Jim Lamar from Green Lawn Seminary. Jim,
welcome.
We're so glad to have you. Why don't you start us out with just a bit of your biography? Tell us about yourself so our viewers know who you are.
Well, I grew up in Hanford, and not always, and all of us have not the perfect life, but I lived in Bakersfield for a very short time. My father was a high patrolman and was killed, and my mom I had 2 older brothers, and actually she was pregnant with me at that time, and so after he died, we moved to Hanford, and I grew up there, and then eventually jobs brought me back to Bakersfield, and I ended up getting a job with Green Lawn. And I started knocking on doors, 1990, knocking on 100 doors a day, selling cemetery property. And became a sales manager for them and worked my way up. Left the company, consulted with funeral homes for 5 years, and then 5 years ago was asked to come back as president of the company.
Wow.
And interesting, when I when I looked at paperwork from my father passing, Green Lawn was a funeral home back in 1954 that had picked him up and handled his arrangements.
Jim, it's not everyone who looks at as a career path, that particular direction. What drew you in that direction?
Well, when I was 18, my stepfather asked me to move out, and so and rightly so, I probably deserved that.
I was going to say, what?
Yeah, and so I had always supported myself and worked, and had never gone to college, and had worked up in the restaurant business, actually, running restaurant franchises, and that's what got me to Bakersfield. When I wanted to change careers at that point, I had never gone to college, and options were limited. And so someone said, you could probably do well if you work for Green Lawn selling cemetery property. And I'll tell you about faith. I had to pass an insurance exam also, and I stared at that test as I was getting ready to take it. And I said, God, if you want me to change careers, I'll pass this test. And if you want me to stay where I am, I'll fail, and I'll just do what your will is. And I passed the test. I went home and gave my notice at that job, and the next day I was selling cemetery property for Green Lawn.
Wow.
So how effective was that, going door to door, 100?
Yeah,
doors
it
a
was
day?
it was really a step in faith. I would tell you that you have to learn and have a thick skin and not accept rejection, because you know that if you're helping people to prepay, whether it's purchasing cemetery property or prepaying for a funeral, you're going to help them when the time comes. And so I knew I was doing the right thing, but it was challenging. And I would park my truck and I would I'd knock on doors, and I'd walk back towards my truck and read my Bible and eat lunch, and I'd get back in there and knock out the rest of the day. And but it was that faith and having and knowing that God would see me through it, and He always did.
Yes.
You know, many people I would assume that we're in denial. I mean, it's just something that you put off, you procrastinate,
Yes.
you do it some other time, and then death catches up with you, and you're unprepared. Tell us about your experience in that, and your advice to people in this area.
Well, you know, it's one of the things that we'd love to put off because we don't always like to think about the inevitable, but because we love our families, it is the right thing to do. And so we always try to encourage people to at least talk about it. Whether you plan and your family comes together and you tell them what your wishes are and you record that, certainly when that time comes and it comes to all of us, and this happened to me recently, where you are just burdened with making all those decisions at the worst day of your life. So anything that someone can do is always relieves that burden, and then it takes the peace. It creates peace because they know they're fulfilling their parents' or their loved ones' wishes, as opposed to making decisions that they're uncertain of.
Yeah.
So, Jim, you had an experience, your lovely wife. You weren't prepared?
Well, you know, working in a business,
Okay.
Of course, if you work there, you better believe in the product that you represent, right?
Yes.
So we had pre-planned, but she was younger than I, and she had come down with a disease, and they had told her that she'd live probably 2 to 10 years. And so I nursed her and took care of her, but she passed within 2 years.
So you've dealt with grief. I
Yes,
mean,
I have.
and that has really sensitized you to the way you treat people who come to you for funeral help. Tell us about that.
Yeah, you know, it has, because you can be in that situation in work and you know that you're trying to help families and you want to encourage them and love on them during that time. But and having done that for so many years, since 1990, but when I had to deal with it myself, the reality came in, the pain was there. And I told people that, you know, I would see people after that in our funeral home, and maybe their death occurred suddenly. And I said, my heart breaks for you, because I've suffered a loss too, but at least God gave me 2 years to prepare. And so you could see them open up, because they know that you also have dealt with it. And I'm thankful that God led me through that, and I know that that's a story that He wants you to tell people to encourage them. Because during that time, you just kind of put one foot in front of the other as you're working through those circumstances.
Jim mentioned you see them open up. And Dawn, you mentioned this book, The Healing Power of Opening Up.
Yes.
And so it does heal when you're opening up.
It does. And I think sometimes when you're in there, you're so numb because you're just trying to get through the moment. And I tell people, you know, the two things that I realized in losing my wife at the time was that I overestimated how prepared I was.
Wow.
And I underestimated the grief.
Oh.
So when you experience that, I think even though you have to be sensitive and not become too familiar with the families that you're serving, I think they could sense that in you, that you're hurting for them, and that you have maybe walked that walk and experienced it. And we all feel comfortable when we're around people that have had similar experiences.
Right.
And that's what we try to bring to our families.
Go ahead, please.
Jim, tell us about Green Lawn, and when a person, I mean, is it open for someone to come and, you know, get some consultation?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, we know. One thing about Green that I love is it's family-owned business. It started in 1931.
Okay.
A gentleman named Ed Helm borrowed some money, and he started the cemetery up on River Boulevard near Panorama. And in fact, we're coming up on 1934. They had their first service after it was developed, and we're coming on our 80-year anniversary.
80 years?
80 years, and 3 generations of family working there. So I'm blessed because I get to work for a family where if I need to make a decision, if I need to give something to a family that is struggling and can't afford to pay for it, I just call a guy that lives across the street There's no corporation to ask for approval. We just make decisions, and I'm thankful for that.
Yes.
But one of the things we do also is we're always encouraging people, if they want to come in, do any kind of pre-planning, get any kind of information, we really encourage them to do so, and sit down with their family and let them know what their wishes are, because that's part of the losses. When something happens, they go, we have no idea what to do. And you get differing opinions with family members, and then it creates strife sometimes at a
Yes.
time that you should be loving and encouraging.
Yes.
So if you could sit down and you could put your wishes on paper and discuss with your family what you want in this time, in this life together, and hug each other and encourage each other through that, I think that's the best gift you can give your children.
Well, consider me a potential client. You know, I glance through the obituaries usually every day, and I find that most of them are younger than I am, and I'm thinking, well, you know, I better get ready for this, and I want to do that. I want to make sure that my wife is completely taken care of and that there's no stress on her. So I'll come knocking at your door, and you can walk me through this.
You see the seed you planted of knocking on doors. Now
Yes,
someone's going to come knock on your door.
Well, you know, I just think it's the best gift you can give it. One gentleman told me early in my career, whenever you would help someone do any pre-planning, sometimes you want to find out, you know, what was their biggest motivation. And I asked him, I said, what prompted you to do this? He said, well, I've always held my wife's hand and helped her.
Oh, wow.
And he said, I won't be there, but by doing this, it's like I'm still holding her
Yeah.
hand. And I apologize for the emotion.
Oh, Jim,
No.
this is open up. You
Yeah.
can, whatever.
But, you know, God is good, and He
Yes.
led me through my situation, and
Yes.
and even brought a beautiful Christian woman in my life now. And so there's always another chapter.
Oh.
And so
You really don't see that at the time of grief. I mean,
No,
it
you
seems
don't.
like you've come to an end
Yeah.
forever, but life
Yes.
really does open up
Yes.
in new ways, doesn't it?
Yeah.
well, and I would tell you, and I speak and try to encourage people, is that, you know, whenever you think you've lost everything,
Yeah.
God has something for you.
Yes.
And by working you through that situation, I am never afraid of losing everything again, because I know God can see me through that.
Isn't that
And
something?
that's what I've told my boys. I said, you know, at that time I felt like didn't matter your bank account, how little or how much, or where you lived, you feel like you've lost everything. But I said, if you can get through that, you never fear that again.
Yes.
And that's the power of surviving grief and growing and learning from that.
We want to hear more about that
Yes.
growing process when we come back. So we're going to take a brief break. We'll be right back.
Yes.
We get discounts for having our homeowners and our vehicle insured with them.
And we get a multiple car discount for having, and we also have a security system. We get a discount for having that.
We put our house and our cars together and our trailer.
We get the discount for not having car accidents.
We've been very happy, very satisfied with the discount rate that they give to us.
Low rates with the local advantage. That's Personal Express.
Introducing TBC Mobile from the Bakersfield, California. The most complete news, sports, weather, video, opinion, and lifestyle coverage in Bakersfield and Kern County. It's the easiest way to stay up to date on all things local while on the go. Read it on your smartphone or tablet. Download now by searching Bakersfield Californian in the Apple, Google, and Amazon app stores.
Introducing a new way to get the news. The Bakersfield Californian e-edition. It's not a website, it's the actual Bakersfield Californian right on your laptop, tablet computer, even your smartphone. All the news, features, pictures, and ads you're used to right at your fingertips. Now you can get the Californian on your schedule, anytime, anywhere, anyplace. Get your new Bakersfield Californian e-edition today. Visit eedition.bakersfield.com.
Save 50 to 90% with the Bakersfield Californian's Daily Deal featured on Bakersfield.com. A daily deal is offered each weekday on services from local restaurants, dry cleaners, health and beauty services, retail shops, and local activities for the entire family. The Daily Deal is 100% local. Find these amazing deals only at dailydeal.bakersfield.com.
If you own or operate a private dental practice and need help with claim submissions, claim follow-ups, updating patients' accounts, or posting insurance payments, turn to Thorne Dental Claim Professionals. TDCP is dedicated to providing trained dental claim specialists to take care of your dental insurance billing and claims. Your patients are your #1 priority, so give them the attention they need by trusting in TDCP to take care of your administrative tasks. For more information, visit www.dentalclaimprofessionals.com or call them today.
Introducing the Next Gen Home by Lennar. Your family is constantly evolving. The kids move out, the kids move back. Maybe grandma moves in. You need a home that will grow with you and your family. The Next Gen Home by Lennar has a separate private living space with a bathroom, kitchenette, and entrance all its own, but still connected to the rest of the house. It's a home within a home. New models now open in the Central Valley. To learn more, visit a Lennar Welcome Home Center near you or visit lennar.com.
Welcome back. This is Open Up, and we've been talking with Jim Lamar at Green Lawn Mortuary and Cemetery.
You know, you'd think that would be a morose subject, but this is really interesting and very encouraging. But before we go any further, we just want to say a word of thanks to 3 of our sponsors out there. First of all, Dan Webb at Legal Shield. Listen, identity theft is the worst thing that could happen. These are the people that can help you before, during, and after get back on your feet. So it's Dan Webb at Legal Shield. I can't see it. I don't have my glasses on.
Legal Shield, we actually changed the website, legalshieldassociate.com/open up.
Okay, there you go.
Yes. And next, we want to thank Kern Construction and Electric Incorporated. Robert Miller, longtime Bakersfield resident, who does a fabulous job on anything he sets his hands to. His number is 661-322-5554. That's 322-5554.
And bakersfit.com. Bill Robison, the #1 trainer, personal trainer, 2 years in a row. Here in Bakersfield, totally dedicated to your best health and optimal fitness. A great guy. And we're just so grateful for these businesses for standing with us.
Yes.
And we invite others to come on if you'd like to do that.
Thank you.
Jim Lamar here with us. Jim, this matter of growth, you know, I can tell you one time when I lost a job, like you, my parents raised me to be a man of faith. And what I discovered when that rug was just pulled right out from under me is that my stomach was not a believer. My stomach was just filled with dread and anxiety and fear and panic and it going through that, like you, I've learned that the good Lord is faithful. He just never fails to help us. He never fails to stand with us. And you come out of that with, you know, my stomach's a lot more a believer these days. Like you, I can pass through things. And so tell us about your experience.
Yes.
Well, you know, one thing that that I've discovered is that though you may grow through an experience and your life may turn around and you can find happiness again, that doesn't mean that sad experience didn't exist, and doesn't mean that God wants us to forget about it, because it is a learning point. And things happen to share with people. I tell people today that I miss my wife and I think of her, and my boys do, of course, but God also brought another woman into my life, and the right time and the right place. But as you're saying, your stomach isn't always a believer. I sat on my couch at home and I said, God, I don't know how to begin. You know, I've married for 28 years, and how do you start over again? What do you do? I don't even know. I mean, would anyone want to be with me? And would I be of any value to anybody else? And so when you feel like you lost everything, you start losing confidence sometimes. And but God is good, and He knows what's right for us, and He brought the right person into my life, and life is full of hope and opportunity. And we were sharing, Tina, that it's actually, God is, sometimes He has a great sense of humor, but my wife, that Cindy, I gave her first job when she was 16. And I was a young manager at a fast food restaurant, and I had hired her 34 years before I met her again. And God brought her back into my life. And so interesting, you lose someone that you were with for 28 years. He brings someone into your life to give you comfort that you knew 34 years before. And God is just amazing.
You know, Tina, driving into the station today here at the paper, I live out in the country, and one of the most heartbreaking things I see, and I saw it again today, a little puppy, a little dog just thrown out. Just people go out in the country and they just dump their dogs. They just throw them out. They just abandon them. And I see them every day. They're too shy to come and get the food you leave for them, and you see them grow weaker and weaker, and finally they just disappear. I suppose the coyotes get them. And every time I see that, it breaks my heart. And yet I think of that scripture that says that when Jesus said, I will never leave you. I will never forsake you. I will never abandon you. And I will never fail to help you. And I just, I see that in your life in spades.
Yeah, and I am so thankful because my career with Green Lawn, 5 years that I left and did consulting, and when they asked me to come back and run the company, and I did, my wife at the time was healthy, and the job I had before, I was in a car driving all over Southern California. And a year or two into having this new position with Green Lawn was when she was diagnosed with her illness. And I realized even then in my mind, I told people I have the best job I could ever hope for. And now the worst thing that could possibly happen to me. But I also saw God's timing, because if that had occurred with her when I had that other career, how could I stay home and care for her? How could I be there? I was on the road all the time. So if you trust in God, even when something difficult and your feet get knocked out from underneath you, you can see that He's still there working in that. Wow. And that's what gave me the faith to go move on.
Jim, I need to ask you, when my mother was slowly dying of brain cancer, the stress that brought into our families, I mean, we said things to each other that we would, we just said the meanest things to each other, and it was just this stress that the whole family was under, and it's like it turned us into different people. Yes. And we had to get by it before we could heal and apologize. But tell us about that. Tell us how you counsel people when they go through that stress.
Well, and what we encourage them is that, if you can, just realize this is the worst time in everyone's life, and everyone deals with it differently. When my wife was sick, my two boys had finished college and moved back home to help me. But they didn't, when kids from college come back home, it doesn't always seem like help. And I tried to tell them that I'm just trying to hold this house together. And if I came home and I saw things disheveled and a mess, it would frustrate me more than it should. And they said, Dad, we're doing the best we can. But I was just trying to control some segment of my life. And so we were at each other, that frustration that occurs and that anger. And we loved each other through it all, and we learned from that. But that's what we try to encourage families, is that even the employees that work for us, and if a family member that's had a loss is rude or something happens and they're short, so you have to understand what they're going through. This isn't something we're ever prepared for. And there's no manual to read that. Even if you could, it wouldn't be like the book played out. So you have to give a lot of grace to each other. You have to know you loved each other before that circumstance, and you'll love each other afterwards.
Yeah.
How many employees do you have?
We have 80.
80 employees between the two locations?
Yes, and we actually have the funeral home in Tehachapi, the two in Bakersfield, and then the two cemeteries.
You're expanding here in Bakersfield, I noticed, out on Highway 99. Tell us about that.
Well, what we did was, when I came back to work for the company, I walked in one of our chapels, and I saw people standing outside. And I said to the owner, it's not fair because someone got off work late to come to a service and they can't even sit in the chapel. And we need to build a facility that could serve them. So he said, well, if you think it's the right thing to do. And so we built a new facility that could handle up to 400 or 500 people. And I wanted sometimes
that would be the largest in Bakersfield.
It is. It's the largest in Southern California.
Really?
And what we saw was that, and I often saw when people walk in a funeral home, it's not something they're accustomed to, and immediately they're uncomfortable. So we wanted it to be a peaceful setting. So when you walk into our new chapel at Southwest Green Lawn, it almost looks like the setting of a hotel lobby. And I wanted it to be relaxing and disarming so you feel comfortable. And we added a reception area for people if they needed refreshments for their family members, or a place just to gather before or after. And all the things I had seen for 5 years around California, I said, let's bring all that together. And I'm so blessed to have an owner that would let me do that, have that vision to say, if you think it's what's right for the consumer, we should do it.
Jim, what's coming up for the 80-year is there a celebration? Or?
Yes, there is. In fact, our oldest cemetery on River Boulevard, we have a lot of space still available, and people often think we don't because of the age of the cemetery. So we have some new developments there, a lot of cremation offerings. We built some new family estates and a new fountain. And so we plan to have a dedication of that as well as a celebration in October for our 80th year, just to let people know that we're still evolving as part of the community, and as our consumers' demands and needs change, that we have to evolve and meet those needs, whether it's a new facility or new cremation offerings. We have to be sensitive to what they need.
Right, yes. We've got about 2 more minutes. Anything else you'd like to say?
Yeah.
I think about going in this time of grief and stress for the family, to just touch on that again. I remember my mother was dying in Oregon. My father was taking care of her. And when we came from California then to kind of come and be with her, you know, I wanted to help, and I dive right in, and suddenly my dad, without me knowing it, feels like he's being shunted aside, that I'm kind of a Budinsky that's kind of come in and taken over what he wants to do and is supposed to do. And you know, even with the best of intentions, a family can be torn apart and bruised feelings. Tell us, get us through things like that.
And that can happen. When my stepfather passed away, and even though we asked to leave at 18, we didn't have the best relationship, and it hurt me deeply, and I didn't think it would. And I took over as soon as we had the funeral arrangements. I started making all the plans, and his son, my half brother, sat there and felt that he wasn't part of the whole process. So I could see how that can happen. And the number one encouragement is to talk about it. Talk about it when we're alive today. Even if you have an ill relative, sometimes people feel like you're giving up on them if you have that conversation. And you're not. You're demonstrating your love. Because if you love your family, the best thing your family wants is for you to love each other when they're gone. And by having those conversations sooner than later and understanding what we're going to do when that time comes, it just makes it so much easier.
Boy, Tina, that's a world of wisdom, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And we've got the info for Green Lawn.
Please, let's see
Chris.
it. Let's see that.
Green Lawn Mortuary and Cemetery. The website, www.greenlawnmortuaryandcemetery.com. The telephone number is 661-834-8820. That's the Southwest location. And here on the east side is River Boulevard, 661-324-9701. And we've been talking with Jim Lamar, the president, CEO.
And we've learned a lot, Jim. Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you for
We
allowing
really
me to share.
appreciate you being here.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
We'll be back after the break.
If you own or operate a private dental practice and need help with claim submissions, claim follow-ups, updating patients' accounts, or posting insurance payments, turn to Thorne Dental Claim Professionals. TDCP is dedicated to providing trained dental claim specialists to take care of your dental insurance billing and claims. Your patients are your #1 priority, so give them the attention they need by trusting in TDCP to take care of your administrative tasks. For more information, visit www.dentalclaimprofessionals.com or call them today.
Buying a home is one of the most important decisions you can make. Scott Tobias Real Estate is here for you. Allow our seasoned and professional associates guide you through every step of the way. Scott Tobias Real Estate is a full-service real estate company providing expert assistance in residential and commercial real estate. The real estate business has changed in many ways over the years, but the desire for excellent customer service is still very much in demand. Our objective is not to be the biggest, but to offer the best real estate services. We're open 7 days a week.
Introducing the Next Gen Home by Lennar. Your family is constantly evolving. The kids move out, the kids move back. Maybe grandma moves in. You need a home that will grow with you and your family. The Next Gen Home by Lennar has a separate private living space with a bathroom, kitchenette, and entrance all its own, but still connected to the rest of the house. It's a home within a home. New models now open in the Central Valley. To learn more, visit a Lennar Welcome Home Center near you or visit lennar.com.
Honey, have you called Gunlax about fixing that toilet upstairs?
You know, I saw a plumbing episode on the Fix It channel. Yeah, I can fix it.
You could try it yourself, or you could just call Gunlax and save your marriage.
Hey, honey, I think I did it.
Gunlax, 327-3052.
That wasn't so bad.
Hi, Corey Costello here, host of Roadrunner Rundown, Tuesdays, 10 a.m. right here on Bakersfield.com. It's the official program of CESUB Athletics. We bring you inside the program with interviews with coaches and student athletes. Of course, everybody's favorite Corey versus. I mean, people like to see me in embarrassing athletic situations. And, of course, we'll have all the highlights from around the Roadrunners as well. So join us for Roadrunner Rundown, Tuesdays, 10 a.m. right here on Bakersfield.com.
Introducing a new way to get the news. The Bakersfield Californian e-edition. It's not a website, it's the actual Bakersfield Californian right on your tablet computer, laptop, even your smartphone. All the news, features, pictures, and ads you're used to right at your fingertips. Now you can get the Californian on your schedule, anytime, anywhere, any place. Get your new Bakersfield Californian e-edition today. Visit eedition.bakersfield.com.
This segment of Open Up is brought to you in part by Abeta Weed, the locally owned company that has everything you need for lush, weed-free gardens and lawns, from the smallest backyards to the property of the biggest businesses, and with top-quality equipment and products better than the big chains, and they service what they sell. Located on Rosedale Highway, just east of Callaway, across from the promenade. Be loyal, buy local, abetaweed.com. Boy, and those good folks deserve your business. Welcome back, everybody.
Yes. Thank you, Abeta Weed. And thank you to Chuck Noss and Nature's Fruit Market and Juice Bar. Chuck is with us today. We're going to see him in just a moment. But
you're going to meet the guy that blends these things.
Yes. And this is Alibaba. This was named after his lovely daughter. And I usually drink it out of my Open Up mug that Carlin Jones from Progressive Marketing gave us. And but I'm not today. Chuck, welcome. Nature's Fruit Market and Juice Bar.
in your new location in the old Henley's building, right across from the Fox Theater. Boy, you got to check this place out if you haven't yet.
If you haven't seen me in a while, you know where I've been now. Huh? Just come inside, you'll see somebody's been in there working.
Yeah, Chuck, come on into your mic a little bit, please. Thank you. So,
okay. You too, Yolanda. Come right up there.
Talk to us. What's going on with Nature's Food Market?
Oh, wow. A lot of changes. We moved to a bigger location, much more high-profile location. I'm excited about getting to the point when people ask where the Fox Theater is, they're going to say it's across the street from Nature's Food Market.
Yes, Chuck.
Now that's promotion. That's good.
And Chuck, we have with us today Yolanda Para.
Yeah, I know Yolanda.
Yes, and I'm meeting her for the first time. She's so lovely. Yolanda has been visiting Nature's Fruit Market for some time now. Welcome to Open Up.
Yeah, about 6 months.
6 months,
Yes.
okay. Talk to us about why you started going and what happened since you've been.
Okay. Oh, wonderful things have happened. Yeah. It's been about 6 months. We walked in, my daughter, Nicole, read it in the Bakersfield Life magazine.
Oh, yeah.
And she said, Mom, look at this. And I said, we need to check it out. So then my husband, my daughter, and I went into the shop, and I totally felt so good. It's a good feeling.
Yes.
It's good people.
Yes.
You feel that. And, you always go with that.
Yes.
And Chuck makes a point to greet you, and it's always filled and busy, but he still makes the time out to wave, and when he's really locked in or when he's not.
Yes.
But I have managed to talk to him most of the time that I've been there. So one time I went in and I said, Chuck, what do you have for insomniacs? And he said, tell me a little bit.
You're low on magnesium.
That's right.
And then she began to tell me about all these things that have been going on for over 40 years in her life, not sleeping through the night at all.
Right.
And that's severe because there's many, many illnesses that can come from a lack of sleep, serotonin depletion, melatonin depletion. And I think at that point you told me, none of my specialists have ever even told me that.
Nope.
Really? And I said, it doesn't hurt to try.
Right.
And so for less than $20, we gave her a bottle of, it's liquid, it's ionized magnesium. And you can tell the rest of the story. So,
he told me the amount to take. I was totally trusting him.
Yes.
It's 42 years. And I said, and during that 42 years, I was always questioning God. I was always saying, why, I was 27 years old with 2 little ones, and I thought, why, why can't I get this fixed? The doctors, the different people that I would see. And I thought, well, this is my cross to bear. Everybody has situations. So then when I took the magnesium, I was very willing and very open to try it. Tried it, the dosage that Chuck recommended, and wow. I was used to sleeping maybe 2-3 hours a night.
Oh my gosh.
And then it wasn't fun. My life was always filled, working full time, but managed to get through it. Very tired at the end of the day. So wasn't quality living. When I started the magnesium and the other stuff, I'm doing a smoothie every morning for my family. And not only I, but my family members are benefiting. My husband will go for lab tests, and he was on medication for whatever, high blood pressure, cholesterol, the typical.
Yes.
His numbers have been so good, and I'm saying, you need to get off the medication.
Wow.
And he's saying, well, he's a little bit, he says, well, I want to take it just in case. And I'm thinking, okay, the little faith, right? So then I said, okay, but the lab readings the last 2-3 months, or times he's visited the lab, have been so good, so good. So back to my sleeping. It's been 5 or 6 hours. Last night, 6 hours. That's unreal for me to sleep 6 hours.
Big improvement.
And what difference has a good night's sleep made in your life, Yolanda?
She's radiant. I mean, she is.
I'm a hyper energetic person anyway. I don't really like the bed to sleep in, to rest in. My mother wasn't very healthy, so she was in bed a lot, but my dad was the opposite. He was a carpenter in my young years, and he was up early. I was up with Dad. He was doing the drafting on the draft board. He was doing I was up with him. And so I knew that my siblings, they were reading in bed, and I was not a bed lover. And to this day, I'm still up at 5, 6 o'clock. It works for me. So whether I slept or not, I did not stay in bed. I just went ahead and lived.
Wow.
I like how she say, I am not a bed lover.
No.
But I was judging a contest once, and the question come to the young lady, what's your favorite thing to do? And she said, sleep. I love to sleep. So I like how you say that. I wasn't a bed lover.
No, I don't read in bed. We don't watch television in bed. I go to bed to rest or sleep.
Yes.
And that's usually at night. So, yeah. Bought several products. I mean, we're on the iron supplement, the silver, the
alkaline water.
Alkaline water,
Oh,
yes.
yes, so am I. I love it.
It's just,
yes.
All of us are taking that, and we all feel so good.
Now Pete can't keep up with you.
Maca,
can't keep up with her.
all that goes into the soft drink,
Yeah.
the protein drink, the maca, the cocoa. All that is just tossed in there by a scoop.
She knows everything by name. I'm glad she
Oh,
does.
I walk in there and we spend a couple, whatever. It's worth it.
Yes.
We're all healthier
Yes.
for it.
Yes.
Yes.
But sometimes it's hard to sell. If someone says, I have a son and a daughter. My son, married, wonderful young lady, 3 grandsons. They come over. I try to fix a smoothie, and I'll say, this is healthy, this is good for you. Sometimes it's very easy to sell products. Sometimes they'll say, oh, Grandma, she's on health stuff. But there's going to be a day where they're going to be put on medication.
Right.
And they're going to say, you know what, maybe we ought to try the nature
Doesn't
store.
taste so bad after all, does it?
It's good.
I remember when Josh was growing up, we'd walk into a 7-Eleven and he'd go, Daddy, buy me something that's not good for me.
Exactly.
Pretty smart kid. Huh?
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Chuck, talk to us. What else is going on at Nature's Food
What
Market?
else? That wasn't enough, huh?
No. Yolanda was talking. You have a lot
I really,
to share.
I just have to say that I look at everything as a opportunity, a divine appointment, if you will, because, had I not been there, had I been in the back, had I been too busy, that, we may not have ever had that discussion. Although I think Nicole would have made sure we had that discussion one way or another, and I'm glad we did. But,
Yes.
for myself, it's, we have to look at what are we good for today. In other words, if we're not doing anything of service to our community, to our family, what have we really accomplished today? Just like the poor young lady that her favorite thing was sleep.
Oh.
And I can totally relate to Yolanda. When I was a kid, I remember any time we went on a road trip, whether it be across the state or across the country, I couldn't sleep. I wanted to see everything, right? It's the same principle.
Yes.
Well, I think we need to look at life that way. And that's how we look at life at Nature's Food Market. Every single person that comes in there has got a story.
Yes.
Whether or not you can get it out of them, that's another whole other thing. But the reality is we want them to feel comfortable enough to talk. And if they are, then certainly there's a good chance that we may be able to help them.
One of the reasons why we are so enthusiastic, and you've heard this over and over, week after week, about Chuck Noss and Nature's Food
Yes,
Market,
yes.
is that I absolutely know that this man is totally dedicated to people's health.
He is,
And
Don.
just a massive amount of wisdom and information. Chuck, where did all that come from? You're not a doctor,
Not from me.
and yet you've got a ton of just amazing information.
My wife keeps saying I'm full of it. I thought she was talking about information, but I study a lot, I glean a lot, and I have to tell anyone and everyone that's interested in knowing that it comes from a desire. And the difference between, and I'm not putting down, I have a lot of friends that are extremely intelligent and medical practitioners, but they learned because they had a goal, and the goal was to graduate, to get a job. My desire is to know more about something that someone else just didn't really care about, and my wife has a deeper desire in some other areas, like, for example, celiac disease. She's got celiac disease, and so she's really delved into that, and what she's learned, I learn. We learn from each other. I remember one of my favorite professors in a class in college that was called Problem Solving and Management. And at the beginning of every class, he would say, live as though you're going to die tomorrow. Most of the kids like that idea, right? But learn as though you're going to live forever. And so I'm not done learning, and I certainly don't want to say that I'm any more intellectual than any other person. I only know as much as I want to know.
Yes.
And I was challenged on that by a lady, and she questioned me on something I was trying to share with her, and she was very defensive. And my answer to her was, her question in a very proper way was, where do you obtain your knowledge? And I said, from a desire to know.
Okay.
And it kind of stumped her.
Yes.
Thanks, Chuck. And Yolanda, thank you,
Thank you so
for
much.
sharing with us such a personal story. We appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. We're going to break. We will be back and wrap up this edition of Open Up. Thank you for being with us.
If you own or operate a private dental practice and need help with claim submissions, claim follow-ups, updating patients' accounts, or posting insurance payments, turn to Thorne Dental Claim Professionals. TDCP is dedicated to providing trained dental claim specialists to take care of your dental insurance billing and claims. Your patients are your #1 priority, so give them the attention they need by trusting in TDCP to take care of your administrative tasks. For more information, visit www.dentalclaimprofessionals.com or call them today.
Introducing the Next Gen Home by Lennar. Your family is constantly evolving. The kids move out, the kids move back. Maybe grandma moves in. You need a home that will grow with you and your family. The Next Gen Home by Lennar has a separate private living space with a bathroom, kitchenette, and entrance all its own, but still connected to the rest of the house. It's a home within a home. New models now open in the Central Valley. To learn more, visit a Lennar Welcome Home Center near you or visit lennar.com.
Honey, have you called Gunlax about fixing that toilet upstairs?
I saw a plumbing episode on the Fix It channel. Yeah, I can fix it.
You could try it yourself, or you could just call Gunlax and save your marriage.
Hey, honey, I think I did it.
Gunlax, 327-3052.
That wasn't so bad.
Current Business Journal contains news and information from local business leaders and organizations. Topics include agriculture, health and medical, energy, real estate, and more. Visit currentbusinessjournal.com to find out how to subscribe or where to pick up a free copy. To inquire about advertising in the bi-monthly Business Journal, call 395-7586. Find us online on Facebook and Twitter, as well as on currentbusinessjournal.com.
Introducing a new way to get the news. The Bakersfield Californian e-edition. It's not a website, it's the actual Bakersfield Californian right on your laptop, tablet computer, even your smartphone. All the news, features, pictures, and ads you're used to right at your fingertips. Now you can get the Californian on your schedule, anytime, anywhere, any place. Get your new Bakersfield Californian e-edition today. Visit eedition.bakersfield.com.
Save 50 to 90% with the Bakersfield Californian's Daily Deal featured on Bakersfield.com. A daily deal is offered each weekday on services from local restaurants, dry cleaners, health and beauty services, retail shops, and local activities for the entire family. The Daily Deal is 100% local. Find these amazing deals only at dailydeal.bakersfield.com.
And welcome back to Open Up. Thank you so much for joining us.
You bet. And we are so glad to have with us Ed Davis, our kind of resident stir up the pot guy. I mean, we like to get things going here. And Ed is our leading agronomist. In fact, one of the only agronomists here in the Southern Valley. He can tell you what will grow best anywhere. But he's a man of strong opinions on many subjects and very outspoken, and that's what we love and appreciate about Ed. And
Yes.
Ed, you've got some things I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem, Don. Before we go to Ed,
Oh, that's right.
Jeremiah has a few things to tell us.
Hello
Welcome,
there.
Jeremiah.
Thank you so much, Don and Tina. Ed, it's good to be here. You know, you can Open Up on Facebook. Just click like on Facebook, Open Up with Don and Tina, and also follow us on Twitter to follow all of Don Clark's wisdom through the years. And so we'd love you to follow us on our social media. And today, we have a special a guest, Greenlawn, and it just got me to thinking, Don, all about death. And what a sober topic to consider. I thought about Steve Jobs, American entrepreneur, marketer, and inventor, who was the co-founder, chairman, and CEO of Apple Incorporated. And of course, in 2003, Jobs was diagnosed with a pancreas neuroendocrine tumor. And he died, unfortunately, on October 5th, 2011. Jobs said on the subject of death, "No one wants to die. Even people who want to go to heaven don't want to die to get there." And yet, death is the destination we all share. No one has ever escaped it. And that is as it should be, he said, because death is very likely the single best invention of life. It's the life change agent. It clears out the old to make way for the new. We hear death all the time in the news on a large scale. The Ebola outbreak continues to accelerate in West Africa and has killed over 1,500 people so far, according to the World Health Organization. Celebrities are not exempt. Acclaimed actor and Oscar winner director Richard Attenborough. He just recently died on Sunday. His film career spanned over 60 years, Don, and he was 90, in fact. Even close to home in Bakersfield, Mary Hogat, 88, Michael Lage, 75, both of whom have services pending with Greenlawn Funeral Homes. We have all been affected indeed. The Bible says in Hebrews 9:27, "It is appointed unto men once to die." And as my youth moves from spring to summer to fall, I realize it includes me. Yikes. Meanwhile, I ponder the notion of Jobs. Is death life's change agent, clearing the old and making way for the new? Perhaps you are dealing with the pain of death and are searching for healthy ways to cope. We pray that your soul opens up to the words from the following song entitled "Cry Out to Jesus" by Third Day, and through these words may you experience a deep sense of renewal and God's loving comfort and peace. Here's the song's words. To everyone who's lost someone they love, long before it was their time, you feel like the days you had were not enough when you said goodbye. And to all of the people with burdens and pains keeping you back from your life, you believe that there's nothing and there is no one who can make it right. There is hope for the helpless, rest for the weary, love for the broken heart. There is grace and forgiveness, mercy and healing. He'll meet you wherever you are. Cry out to Jesus. Don, Tina, back to you.
All right, Jeremiah Wright, always good stuff. You know, my sister had a friend who was in a coma, and all of a sudden, Janet says she just woke up, sat up, and said, "Oh, he's coming. I'm going now." And she was gone. I mean, it was just an adventure for her, so nothing to fear.
Nothing to fear.
Ed Davis, and you've got some words to say about religious folks and religious things, and tell us about that.
Welcome.
Well, thank you.
Good to see you.
Thank you. I've always been a little bit concerned. I was raised a Catholic, and I'm Southern Baptist now, and try to stay as close as I possibly can to the Word. And I've always wondered why religions didn't take more of an active part in trying to solve the problems of the world, other than putting themselves in situations where they're trying to do good works, good deeds. We go to heaven through grace, and I get all that side of it. But for example's sake, my old alma mater, the Catholic religion, is the richest entity in the world. And the Muslim religion and the Islamic religions are right there with them. So I would think that it would be a very, very good thing for us to quit putting ourselves in a situation of boots on the ground and ferreting out all of these individuals, and we lose 3,000 and we kill 30,000 of those, and we finally knock them back, and we have some semblance of peace in our world for a period of time. But the ultimate reality is that we develop martyrs that way. Yeah. And in my mind's eye, you got to think about it somewhere along the lines of like fleas on a dog. I mean, you treat them and the fleas are gone. 6 months later, the fleas are back. You got to treat them again. All we're doing is knocking down these people and developing more and more martyrs. And my thought on it is that this is about religious efforts and energies on their part to stand behind the guise of religion, but do what they want by cherry picking their own religious directives. In that, for example's sake, every major religion believes in what we call as Christians the golden rule. So Christianity's is all things whatsoever ye would that men should do unto them as well. Confucianism, do not do unto others what you would not like them to do to yourself. Buddhism, hurt not others in ways that you yourself would find hurtful. Hinduism, this is the sum of duty. Do not unto others as you would have them do unto you. Islam, which is the religion of love, where ISIS and all of these other organizations are standing behind, the religion of love's position is no one of you can become a believer in the Islam religion until you desire for your brother what he desires for himself. Judaism, what is hateful to you, do not do to your fellow man. Taoism, regard your neighbor's gain as your gain. So the point being is that in my mind's eye, all religions are basically based on the principles of, again, what we call the golden rule: do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. And in my mind's eye, it is very important that all religions come together and put together a panel or a forum or something in their own efforts to stop this martyrism thing that we develop. And the religions themselves go, hey, look, I don't care what God you believe in, but believe in the golden rule. And if you're not following the golden rule by carrying an AK-47 and a machete to your neighbor's house, that is not religion.
Or maybe a bomber.
Or something, anything. So at the end of the it's just very, very important for religions to come to the table, to come out from behind the curtain, come out of the shadows, become a part of our true part of a fabric of our country, of our world today, and do a much, much better job of approaching these zealots from a religious perspective, so we don't develop situations of martyrism, which is all that happens. So if they would just simply come together, they have the money to do it. These religions are incredibly wealthy. They have the money to do it. They have the prowess. They have the power, and they need to go do this so we quit having to bomb each other and to shoot each other and to make more martyrism, which has failed for thousands and thousands of years. There is no reason to consider to do this. This problem that we have in third world countries, including Africa, is a problem with our religious communities who will not band together and go and talk to these people who are, in fact, doing things under the guise of religion, but are breaking every rule of their religion. And I really do think that this is something that really needs to at least be attempted for the first time ever. If you got 8 or 10 different major religion heads to go to these individual people and say, look, if you're not going to do it this way, you are no longer a religion, you are Adolf Hitler.
Well said.
Thank
well
you,
said.
Ed. Thank you. And thank you so much for joining us. Thanks to Denise for making our set so beautiful. Thanks for you for watching.
God bless.
Bless you.